We're going to bring into the conversation now Senator Bill Nelson, a Democrat from Florida, and he sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Sir, I want to play you what Jeb Bush had to say about President Obama and the Syrian strategy from the White House. He was on Morning Joe, and then I'm going to get your response. Take a look.
If you're sitting in Riyadh or sitting in Turkey and looking what's going on, you're saying the United States is not a reliable partner. Maybe Russia is, as they share intelligence between Iraq, Iran, and Syria. This is all just doing a victory dance around President Obama, and I just think he should stand up and be clear. This is still the strongest country in the world. We still have the strongest military. We're just not acting like it right now.
Sir, do you agree with that? Do you think that Putin has outmaneuvered President Obama when it comes to Syria?
No. And I thought you were going to ask me to try to make sense of what all's going on in Syria, which, of course, is a very complicated situation. I think in the short term, I think Putin is getting into it, and we've always got the problems of having a clash with our militaries, our air forces, and that's a major problem. In the longer term, I think Putin is trying to protect his two military bases there, and he might just be, in the long term, someone that when all of the jihadists start banging up on Putin, he may be in a position to have an exit strategy for Assad, which right now, Assad is certainly in his plans to protect Putin's military bases.
We know that the intel is, or the conversations about intel between the Russians and the U.S., that's happening right now. But in your estimation, Senator, if it is proven that Russia has targeted trained forces by our CIA, and they are not strictly going after ISIS, then is Putin blatantly standing in the way of White House objections? And then would you suggest that we need a proportionate response?
Now, your question is if we understood exactly who those rebels are. But there are good rebels and there are bad rebels. And some of those bad rebels are al-Nusra. And so if Putin is not targeting ISIS, if he is only targeting, which we don't have any evidence that he is, the Free Syrian Army forces that we have trained and continue to train, then that obviously is going to be a problem.
So when we talk about what we know, targets have been determined in coordination through Russia with the Syrian armed forces. Basically, Russia is the muscle for the Syrian armed forces. Is it a concern to you that we do not have concrete details about whether or not they are taking direct fire at forces that the U.S. would support that are opposed to the Assad regime?
It's the second day of the Russian strike. This will become clear over time, Thomas. In the meantime, understand what Putin's doing. He's throwing a head fake to his Russian people to try to get their attention off the fact that they are hurting economically at home. And he's trying to throw a head fake from the fact that he's now trying to get a peace settlement in the Ukraine, because that hadn't gone well for him. So this will become more clear over the days. And at the end of the day, I really think he might be key for us getting a ceasefire and getting long time down the road to get Assad to leave.
Democratic Senator Bill Nelson of Florida. Sir, thanks for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thanks, Thomas.